Alright guys, welcome back to a brand new ptcgo top 5 video, and today guys we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 best support cards. Now this will not include stuff like Ace Rolla, and also will not include cards like Guzma, because yes they are good, and they're still going to be very relevant cards in post-rotation. They're not going to count. This is going to be more like draw cards, and also cards that will replace certain cards in the metagame. Ace Rolla and Guzma will obviously stay good. Now, I'm not going to spoil the other card you guys are expecting. So anyways, let's get into today's top 5 video. If you guys want to see more top 5 videos that discuss post-rotation items or supporters, or even decks for that matter, drop a like, drop a comment if you want to see another one, and let me know if you have any ideas for another post-rotation top 5 like video. So anyways, I'll see you guys at our number 5 spot. And guys, at number 5, we have Pokmon Fan Club. Now, Pokmon Fan Club has always been one of those cards that has always been underappreciated. I don't even think it's really even seen that much competitive play since it came out back in Flashfire. It's always been one of those cards like, yeah, it's nice to have, it's okay, but there was just better options. Now that Bridget is so dominant, Fan Club is kind of just thrown to the side and like, whatever, it is what it is. But Pokemon Fan Club could become a staple in a lot of archetypes. Now, Fan Club has a few benefits other than Bridget. For one, you get to grab 2 basics and put them in your hand. Putting them in your hand is actually not that bad when you need to grab Pokemon with abilities like Kartana. Tapu Lele is a big one. Fan Club into Lele can actually become a thing now. So we could see a combo there. Now, it will never replace Bridget, but you still get to grab 2 basics. It's not the end of the world. 2 basics over 3 is definitely a lot worse. But being able to grab Lele is good. So I personally think we're going to see multiple copies of Fan Club. Probably 2 in each deck instead of 1 Bridget. It could be 2 Fan Clubs now, because it's just a better card than having 1 in the deck. If you play 1, then you don't get the max benefit. Having 2 is probably going to be the way to go. And again, being able to still grab a Lele with Fan Club, put it in your hand, is still a really good effect. So Pokemon Fan Club, I think, is definitely a decent card to replace Bridget. Not the best replacement in the world, but it'll have to do. So, yeah, at number 5, we have Pokemon Fan Club. Moving on to our number 4 spot. Alright guys, coming in at our number 4 spot is going to be Holla. Now, Holla's coming in at our number 4 spot because this card could become a staple in a lot of decks, because since we're losing 2 of the biggest shuffle draw cards in the game, Sycamore and N, Shuffle Draw is going to be a little bit harder to pull off, or even just drawing cards in general, right? You know what I mean? Sycamore's not Shuffle Draw. You get my point, right? Losing those 2 cards is such a big loss that really there's not going to be great reliable draw cards other than Cynthia and a few other things we'll talk about in a minute. Holla could become good. GX attacks will take the forefront, most likely. There's going to be more GXs with stronger GX attacks. Now, there are some GX attacks that will be useless. Zoark GX, you'll probably never use Trickster. But there are still a lot of good ones, right? Absorption's pretty good early on. Tapu Wilderness can be good early on also. Just spitballing here, we got Leafeon GX, Crossing Cut's good early on, Moon's Eclipse is good early on, Sun's Eclipse is also good. You get my point, right? So GX attacks are still going to be very powerful in the game. So people may try to play 2 Hollas in their deck. I think no more than 2 will be played unless you're playing like a Drampa deck, and then you always want to go big wheel first. You play 4 Hollas. But other than that, Holla is still going to be a pretty solid card in the format, because you shuffle draw 7. It's not like Sycamore, but drawing 1 extra card than Cynthia is actually a lot stronger than you think. So I think Holla is going to be another good supporter card in post-rotation. So we'll have to see if Holla takes the forefront as like a 2 of in every deck, which I think it will. So anyways, we'll move on to our number 3 spot now. And at our number 3 spot, guys, this is going to be Lily. Now, I think Lily is a fairly solid card right now. Now, a lot of decks are still kind of using Lily a little bit because of that effect of being able to drop to 8 cards. Some people like that more than Bridget, I guess, but overall, Lily is still a solid card. And we'll most likely see, again, 2 copies of Lily in every deck. I'm pretty sure back when we had just Sycamore and N, I think Bianca was kind of one of those cards that we saw like 2 of in every deck, I'm pretty sure. Because back then, back in like the days where like we only had those 2 draw supporters, we had like other stuff like Sharon. That's really about it. I think Copycat was around too, and maybe Judge. But Lily/Bianca was kind of what people liked to use back then too, as like a 2 of in every deck. So Lily could probably become the same thing. Again, turn 1 Lily is pretty strong. Being able to drop to 8 cards if you can lower your hand size is super effective. So I think Lily is definitely a pretty solid card. I think decks will play 2 of it. We'll have to see. Again, a lot of decks could accustom to that effect. Being able to draw 8 on your first turn is very powerful. People may favor that with Tapu Lele's ability, but we will most likely see Lily be a 1 or 2 of in every single deck, because it's still a decent draw card. Drawing cards to your hand can be powerful. Now, we don't really have that many abilities. Like, if Lily Gallade was a thing, that could be a possibility. But overall, I think Lily is still pretty solid, and we'll most likely see a fair amount of play. So I think decks will custom to 2 of them. And guys, the number 2 spot is going to Copycat, which is going to be coming back in Celestial Storm. Now, there's a reason why I think Copycat is going to be a pretty solid card in a lot of decks. The reason for this is because Zoroark GX is most likely going to be the hugest card in the format once again. Now, because we are losing a lot of support cards that help stop Zoroark, like Strong Energy, Regirock, Sudowoodo, Garbo Toxin, all gone, I think Zoroark GX is going to go once again to the top tables. Also, losing Octillery is a huge hit, so Zoroark will most likely be the huge thing. And we all know what it's like playing against Zoroark when they have 20 card hands. Copycat could actually be super powerful against them. Like, this could literally be almost like using Colress most of the time. Now, Copycat against Zoroark is super powerful, because I think Zoroark is going to become the biggest deck again, or at least it's going to take over the format once again. Because Buzzwole losing a lot of support is going to be hard to stop. I think Copycat is going to be a great addition in a lot of decks. Just when you're playing against Zoroark, Copycat's going to be super useful when they have like 9 card hands. You get to draw into 9 cards yourself. I mean, that is super reliable and one of the best things about using Copycat. So this is why I like Copycat. It also has another effect. It could possibly be like an extra Cynthia, because if your opponent has like a 6 or 7 card hand, you can still use Cynthia, or Copycat, sorry, to act like another Cynthia. So Copycat, in my opinion, is a great addition to Standard. I think this is a really powerful card that I think is definitely posed to make some kind of an impact. Again, with Zoroark most likely being really relevant post-rotation, Copycat most likely is going to become a very powerful card to play in a lot of decks. You could potentially run up to 4 of these, just because, again, you can rely on just your opponent having like a 6 or 5 card hand. Like, it's still useful to do that. So I think Copycat is going to be one of the best draw supporter cards that we will have. Moving on to our number 1 spot, you probably already know what it is, but we'll get into it. And at number 1, guys, you already know what it is, Cynthia. Get 4 of these while you can in their full art version. Cynthia is most likely going to be the best draw support card in the Standard format going into the new format. Most likely, you know, with N and Sycamore leaving, Cynthia is posed to make the best sort of replacement for the draw support engines. But I do think Cynthia is going to be a very good card. You're going to need 4 of these, most likely. If you don't have 4 full arts with the full bling, you might want to get on it now. I don't know if it's going to go up in value or not. Ultra Prism, you know, we'll see. We'll see if Cynthia goes out. I'm going to have to get a 4 Cynthia soon. I do have 3. But Cynthia definitely is going to be one of the biggest draw supporters, aka the best one. Definitely going to be a great card. I think you should definitely stock up on Cynthias. Get them while you still can. If Cynthia goes up over time, which N saw the same thing, N was like 60, 70 packs. Cynthia right now is like, I think around 35, 36 its patch or something like that. So it's probably going to go up to like around 70 packs. So I would recommend getting like 9 full art Cynthias, and you will be kind of rich because you'll have a lot of Cynthias to trade off. But yeah, Cynthia goes in at our number 1 spot. Going into some honorable mentions. The first one is going to just go to Steven's Decision. This is a very interesting card. Now, because the engine of giving your opponent a new hand is kind of leaving the format with N, we might see Steven's Decision be like a 1 of in a few decks, or even a 2 of. Basically, I think it lets you grab any 3 cards from your hand, from your deck, put them in your hand, and then your turn ends kind of like Kiawe. There's a new Metagross with an ability that allows you to play the effect without your turn ending. So Steven's Decisions will most likely be a nice 1 of or 2 of. Then we have the other ones. Now there's 2 cards on here that could be very impactful for the draw engine. The first one is going to be Judge. We still have Judge now, so we could see Judge be like a 2 of, 3 of in every deck. Now, the only issue Judge gives you is you have to shuffle yourself. I think Judge is a great tech card in Zoroark decks, most likely going forward, because with Judge, you give your opponent a lower hand size, and then you get a lower hand size, but if you're playing Zoroark, you can just get your hand back to a big hand. So I don't know, I think Judge is still a decent option too. We don't really have that many good ways to give your opponent a new hand other than Judge, Marshadow, Ilma, and I think Wiki. if they're not great replacements for N, Judge is not even that great of a replacement for N either. It's kind of unreliable, because you're only drawing 4 cards, which is pretty bad. Because you might just draw, like, you might get a bust hand, and you're like, oh, well, rip. I judged myself and gave myself nothing. But, yeah, Judge most likely will be another decent card to play. The other two, is going to be Professor Kakui. Kakui is still an interesting card in the format. Being able to do 20 damage and draw 2 cards is still an alright effect. And going into the new format, we could see decks play 1 or 2 Kakuis. Drawing 2 cards might not be the worst thing in the world, and then also doing that extra 20 could make the difference in like a Buzzwole deck against the Zoroark deck when you lose Strong Energy and Regirock. Kakui does have a place, I think, so it's not a terrible card either. And then finally, the last kind of draw engine-y card is probably Mallow. Mallow could see a rise in popularity, since again, Zoroark is most likely going to be a very dominant force. Zoroark could bump their counts of Mallow up to 2 to 3, just because being able to do Mallow with Zoroark is an insanely good combo. So Mallow will most likely see a lot of rise in popularity, and I would highly recommend stocking up on like maybe 2, 3 Mallows. Get these full arts while you still can. I think Mallow will go up in price also, much like Cynthia. So I think Mallow full arts, you know, they're really cheap right now. So if you want, try and get like 10 Mallows, 15 Mallows. They're probably going to be worth a little bit, not like a whole, probably same value, maybe around like what Bridget is right now. I doubt they'll ever go over like 10 packs, maybe like 5 or 6 packs we'll see Mallow. If Zoroark becomes so relevant in this new format, Mallow could be the thing that combos really well. So I would recommend stocking up on Mallow full arts. They could be 5 packs a piece very soon. Anyways, that is this list. Do you guys think that this list was accurate? How do you guys feel about all the supporters that we are going to be stuck with? Losing 3 huge supporters post-rotation is big, and then, you know, we don't have that many good supporters that can really replace Sycamore and N. Nothing will really replace them ever. Like, they're just irreplaceable. There's other cards like, not Team Skullcard. There's like stuff like Sulfolicky. You know, this card isn't bad either, but it's not that great. Looker's kind of a thing too, with like maybe a Rangaroo, but I doubt that either. We do have interesting cards like Ilma. I doubt Ilma's that great. You might just screw yourself over too, drawing 3 cards. We do have Gladian. I might do a list where like I talk about like the niche kind of tech supporter cards, stuff like Diancie, Ace Rolla, Crasher Wake, Gardena, Gladian, Kiawe, just stuff like that. These like techie supporter cards. I might do a top 5 video on that if you guys want to see that. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe. Down the road to 3K subs. Doing top 5 videos is fun, so if you enjoyed this top 5, leave a like. Do you think it's accurate? What other supporters should I put on this list? I might have missed a few from the new set. I kind of looked at them, and I feel like the most impactful one is Stevens. They're not that great. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the TCG video. Peace out, have a good day, and goodbye.